How you going, people? Gonna do a couple of crazy cop stories. I've been making videos on batteries about dead. Probably the thing's full of. So I'm gonna knock out two crazy cop stories. One's gonna be so there's this guy. I'm working a child abduction. So my phone says child abduction. My business card says child abduction. And I'm familiar with court cases, lawsuits, fighting over kids, parents violating orders, kids abducting, parents abducting grandparents, people running out of state. So I'm doing all this kind of work with kids. So this one girl in our agency was like, she was working computer crimes, and they were after this one dude who was I can't remember exactly what he was doing, but he was a pretty bad guy. They wanted him for a couple felonies on some computer stuff where he was either doing identity theft or he set somebody up. He did something that he was like, look, we got a felony warrant for this guy, and he's like gotten away from us like 10 times. So she comes to me and she goes, dude, she goes, hey, you got any ideas on how we can catch this guy? I mean, he's just slick. And I go, man, you guys got all these, y'all can't trick him. She goes, no. I go, shit, what's his name, man? I said, I'll call him. So she goes, why, what do you got, what are you going to do? I said, I'll tell him there's some woman here saying she got him pregnant and she wants to take him to court and he needs to get a paternity test and I got certain papers. She goes, hey man, that'd be great, let's do that. I go, all right. So she gives me the info. So they have his cell phone, they tried tracking it, every time he supposedly runs, he's really quick, so every time they try to catch this guy, he gets away. So I call the dude, I go, hey dude, yeah, I'm Detective so-and-so, and they know, they say he's got a really good nose for cops, so he'll smell him out. So I was like, I ain't gonna lie to him, I'll tell him a cop. I say, hey man, I'm Detective so-and-so with Child Abduction Unit. I said, we got a complaint on you, the lady says that she thinks you're the father of her kid. He's like, what? What? Who's this bitch's name? I go, dude, man, I can't give you information. All I need to do is serve you. I said, I don't even care if you don't show up to court. I said, they gave me the paperwork. I got to serve you. I said, her name's on the paperwork. I can't discuss anything over the phone because if I can tell it to you and you go beat her up or something, then I'm in trouble. So I said, look, once I give you the paperwork, you handle it the way you want. I just got to get this off my desk. Man, are you sure? That sounded like bullshit. Are you sure? It's like, dude, so his warrants, again, Sacramento and Yolo were different. I was in Yolo County, so I was calling him from Yolo. His warrant, felony warrant, was in Sacramento, so he doesn't know that our system is connected. We're working with the cops and everything. So, I mean, he doesn't know that we have people that work at Sacramento and we're on tests. So he's not making a connection. So he's like, okay, maybe it's Yolo. He goes, what's your name? I gave him my name, and I said, yeah. I said, there's my number, man. I said, give me a call. I said, just anytime next week, whenever you can meet. And he goes, all right, let me think about it. I go, all right. So I just kind of blew it off. Said if he calls, he calls. Well, about 5 minutes later, my phone rings. And I answer, Detective Gore, child abduction. Click, hangs up. So he was seeing if my phone, I knew it was him. So he was seeing if my phone number was who I said it was. So a few minutes later, he called back another number, maybe 10 minutes later, because he went and called, he went online, he's doing his research. He calls the front desk and he says, hey man, do you have a guy there named Gore working child abduction? Yeah. Can you transfer? Yeah, transfer it. So they transfer it to him. I go to Detective Gore, he goes, hey man, it's me. I go, man, why didn't you call back my line? He goes, oh, I lost it, I can't find it. I just called the front office. I knew what he's doing, he's smart. They already told me he was savvy. He's making sure I was who I said I was. So I haven't lied to him yet. Well, I have lied to him, but he doesn't know it. So he says, okay, man, I'll meet you tomorrow. He goes, what time? I said, man, how about lunchtime at noon? He goes, okay, that'll be great, because they had already told me they need a little bit of time to get there, and we had a schedule, so I try to make it to where they get there. So I call her back, I go, yo, man, it's on. He's going to meet me tomorrow at noon. She goes, bullshit. I go, man, I'm serious. He called me back, he's going to meet me at noon. I said, get your team together, shit, and be here. You can snag his ass. Okay, so they get all the shit, they get all their cars, they have 4 or 5 two-man cars, all these freaking people, and I'm meeting them, and the guy didn't want to meet me in a building at first. When he wanted to pick a location, he's like, you know, man, I don't want to go to your office. I said, look, dude, I said, there's a restaurant like a quarter. I said, I'll walk across the street because I'm going to go to lunch anyway. I'll just meet you on the street corner again. I said, it's only going to take 5 minutes, dude. I said, as soon as I figure out who you are, you tell me who you are, I'm giving you the paperwork, and we're done. He goes, man, all right, but I can tell he's hinky, and he's all jacked up, and he don't want to do it. So, sure enough, cops are there, we're all ready, they're all driving around. He knows they're in their car, they chase him sometimes, so they're trying to stay back a little bit. Well, they stayed back too damn far. So the guy walks up to me. I go, hey, he goes, hey man, you Gore? Yeah. I said, how you doing? I said, here's my ID. He goes, okay, cool. So I'm thinking in my mind, okay, these guys have got me, they see the contact, they're following me, they're ready to swoop in. So I'm stalling him. I'm like, shit, nobody's coming. Where's the red lights? Where's the freaking cavalry? And they got caught up in traffic and somebody couldn't get through and all these freaking excuses. So I finally get my ID and I go, okay, man. I said, so I had some fake paperwork handed out. And I said, man, are you sure you didn't have sex with a girl? I said, how many girls you got pregnant? So I'm trying to bullshit with him. He goes, look, man, I gotta go. Just give me the paperwork. So I can tell he's about to bail. I'm like, dude, where the hell are all my people? Fucking snag this guy already. So shit. So I hand the paperwork and I know it's blank. So I know the gig's up as soon as he opens it. So I said, shit, I gotta go for it. So I go, hey guy, you're under arrest. I said, you got a felony. And man, his fucking chase is on. Boom. He broke away, snagged, jumped. Youngster, we're racing through the town. I'm like, shit. So I call in pursuit. Now, of course, they can turn on the red lights. They can clear traffic. All this shit. And of course, the local PD, they're pissed off because they didn't know about it. And now they're like, why are you guys chasing people around our city? And, you know, I've talked about that before where you get these agencies, they're kind of territorial and it's, I should know what's going on. And we don't want any other agencies. There's no requirement. It's kind of like professional courtesy. You let them know so they know. But, I mean, you can't let everybody know all the time if something develops kind of quick. Maybe we should have let them know. Big deal. If we'd have told them, you know what they'd have said? Give us a call if you need us. They wouldn't have gave a shit. But because we didn't tell them, they gave a shit. So they're whining about what's going on, what's the pursuit for. So I'm putting it out. Felony, got a felony warrant on Sacramento, I'm eastbound, blah, blah, blah. So we're running. Well, this is about 2 or 3 weeks after I had to shoot 2 dogs at this other warrant we were doing because the guy went in the house and let him out on us and he was attacking my buddy. So I had to kill him and I didn't really like that and I don't like shooting dogs. So anyway, I'm chasing this dude. We go over a couple fences and he goes over this one fence and the freaking dog was asleep. So he gets all the way through the yard and over the next fence. Well, by the time I get in the fence and I'm halfway in the middle, the dog's awake now. He's like, who are these 2 knuckleheads running through my yard? So here he comes. I'm like, shit. So I grab my gun, like, man, I don't want to shoot this poor dog. He's just doing his job. So he comes right at me in front. I fire around right dead at the ground in between my feet and in between me and him, and it goes off in his face. And he's like, argh! And the flash kind of scared him. He took off back to his house. And I'm going to shoot, so I took off and I put it out. I said, shots fired. I put one in the ground. Nobody shot. I'm still in pursuit. And so we're still running. I'm going through the house. You know, I didn't want someone else to call in. Finally, the guy gets away. I was like, mother. So the other, you know, I'm calling the other guy. So, of course, after I've stopped, and where did I end up stopping? I don't know if I got a ride, but I was pretty far away. And I had one of them pick me up to give me a ride back. And I'm like, what? They go, man, we're sorry. Man, we saw him, and we were trying to get in place. We couldn't get out of cars because we knew he'd run, and we didn't have enough. And they had all these, the guy got away again. I'm like, shit. So I think they ended up catching him like 2 or 3 weeks later at another house that they hit, and he just happened to be there. But still, and so, of course, I'm like, well, shit. I said, you know, warning shots, when we were doing our policy, they wanted to put in our policy no warning shots because all the other agencies had that. And I was like, no, I don't want that in there. I said, you put that in there, and I said, all you're doing is locking down a cop where they get in trouble if they have to fire. We can say they're discouraged, we can say we don't encourage them, but I don't want to put that they're not authorized, because in a case, and I specifically gave, I said, if a dog's trying to attack me and I don't have to kill him and I can put one on the ground, I don't want to get in trouble for violating policy for doing a warning shot. And so they didn't put it in the policy. So I was within policy because I argued for it. But most agencies are like, you can't fire warning shots. So of course the PD in charge here is all pissed off. God damn it, you're running around shooting up our town, and you know, so they went to the lady's house because the lady's like, hey, somebody just ran through my yard and shot at my dog. So the cops are over at that place dealing with that. We're still trying to kind of cruise the area to see if we see Billy Bob running and how he got there. And so then the lieutenant gets on the radio and goes, "Ammo, Detective Gore, come back to the scene immediately where he's shot. We're going to do a report for discharging a firearm in the city limits." I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I just kind of ignored him, and I was like, are you? Yeah. And I knew the guy. This is one of the lieutenants that's got to be in charge, and Mr. Hot Dog. And every time I catch somebody with a gun in their city, he'd get shit because his guys aren't catching people with guns because they're out being lazy because they don't want to get any paperwork. And so I catch them with a gun, and suddenly I'm in their city chasing people around. They don't know, and just enter department politics. So this was an ongoing thing. So he's going to try and flex here because he's got me. I shot a gun. Like, whatever. So I call my boss, and my boss goes and briefs the DA, and the DA is the one who has to charge. I mean, they can arrest me, or they can file a report and say, hey, he discharged firearm, it's against the law. Here it is for you to file. And the DA can say, we're not filing, or dismiss it. So I didn't really give a shit. I called my boss, told him what happened. He goes, okay. So he went and briefed the DA. The DA, he called him back, goes, yo, man, don't worry about the gun. The DA said, no problem. He ain't charging you. He said, let him take your stupid report. So I was like, all right, cool. So I blew it off, and then he gets on the radio again. He goes, I need Detective Gore here now. So, of course, me being a smart, I got back on the radio. I go, hey, I said, if you're asking me to come back, I'll be happy to come back. But if you're going to talk to me like that, we can handle this later, and I ain't coming back. And so there's this silence. Everybody's like, oh, shit. So nobody says nothing. He gets back on. He goes, Detective Gore, we need you back at the crime scene so we can get a statement from you on where you shot. I said, perfect. So I went back. I went there. I said, look, I shot the ground right here. Well, you could have hit somebody. How do you know it didn't ricochet? How do you know you didn't kill him? Why didn't you shoot the dog? If you were in fear, you should have killed. I said, because I didn't want to kill the dog. I said, that's why. And I said, I shot in the ground. It was right over here. I said, I know exactly where it's at. I said, obviously, when you find my shell, it's going to be pretty far. I said, there's the shell. We find the shell. There's a hole in the ground. We call that a clue. We dug up. I said, here's the freaking bullet. I said, so do your report. What do you need? I was in fear of my life. I shot it to keep a gun from me. I'm done. What do you need? I said, we've already talked to the DA. The DA ain't charging. So you fill out your report and you file it, but I ain't getting charged, and you're going to do all this for whatever reason you want, but knock yourself out. Fine. We'll deal with it. And he left and I left. So, I mean, that's just inter-departmental kind of bullshit. You get in, you know, cops in that power, my city, my streets, my control, my shift, my guys, it just comes with the turf. I was going to do another one, but this one went kind of long, so we'll end that there. Stupid knucklehead got away. He still was sweating it, though. I can see him sweating all night. Damn, this woman's going to try to get me for having her baby.